None of these kits, Brian Tooley or anybody, which again is who I think's got it based on the stamping on the push rod. Yeah, TSP and Summit Racing, they all have their logo stamped on the push rod. They don't. Everybody else that makes this kind of push rod, let me put this up. They said I just wanted it. But they don't. They do not include lifters in their kit. And they do include doubled up valve springs. They do include push rods and the cam and the new valve seats, retainers, and everything else that we're seeing that's obviously been done. Yeah. But they do not include lifters in their kit. All right. Which is why I'm worried that this could still end up being a lifter, or worse, eating a lifter that's collapsed and is totally eating up your camshaft.
All right, family. So if you guys know what kind of push rod this is, please let us know. If it looks familiar at all, doesn't have any brand or anything on it, it just shows the size. What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are finally taking the time to look at the C506 and see what the issue is, to see if it's a lifter or, you know, what's going on with the car. So got my buddy Floyd here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Floyd. I'm a General Motors ASAP graduate from Illinois Central College at 2021. I'm halfway to ASE Master Certified. And as of tomorrow, I'm actually no longer going to be employed at GM. I'll be an engineering test technician at Cat Building L for ATS. That's about all I can tell you, or I have to kill you.
There you go. So we're going to go ahead and take this car apart, see if it's a lifter, which hopefully it is, and hopefully the cam isn't messed up. And if it is, then
from experience,
we have another option.
I'm pretty confident it's a valve lifter. Yeah. Knowing some of the issues that happen with these and how GM is with their lifters. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to look at. So we'll show you how to do that today.
Yeah.
Sit on there a little bit. That's just in there tight. Having a 4-point and whatever. Oh, that hose is starting to break there too.
Oh, yeah, it sure is.
That's probably where that's probably for PCV. Yeah. There we go. Alrighty. These are probably 8 millis. And just like that.
That's all it takes, the valve cover off?
Yep.
That's all it takes. Yeah, ain't that some shit, man?
I told you.
I could have done that, huh?
I told you, this is why LS engines are fucking awesome. They're extremely. So now basically what we're just gonna do is we're gonna
test the rockers.
You're just gonna look for any play in the lateral movement.
So that one does have some play, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And that one does too.
I don't think those got enough for
to be
bad lifters though. It'd be more vertical movement, not lateral. I guess that could be.
The one back there?
Yeah. No, that's just rocking side to side on its roller. Oil looks awesome though. The oil feed to the head obviously looks fucking sweet, so that's a good thing.
Of course, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, but I feel like this part of the engine looks pretty good too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This looks really good. So these are your push rods. So
right, yeah,
that are all actuated by your lifters.
Push rod or rocker arm?
Push rod. These are your rocker arms.
Oh, so back there. Okay, yeah,
underneath is your push rod.
Okay.
And that's what hits the lifter in your camshaft.
Okay.
And that actuates the rocker arm, which pushes in your valve. So one of these will be your
spring.
Yeah. So this one's looking at your headers right there. That's your exhaust valve. That's your intake valve.
Ah.
And the oil actually comes out through the lifters and through the camshaft and everything, or just
Right through
the
the
block.
lifters and okay.
Yeah, it comes through the push rods and comes out each of these little holes on the rocker arms.
Oh, okay.
And then it rolls off of your valve cover and goes down to the rest of the head.
Okay.
Obviously, this is really well lubricated. That looks beautiful, honestly. I mean, Corvette engines usually do, because oiling is pretty big to them, but you know, this looks really good.
So valve springs go bad on these LS6s, don't they? You think these are new valve springs?
They look
new, right?
They look really good.
Just so you guys can see with the valve springs. I think they look good too.
Someone might have put new valve springs in when they put the cam in.
So the stamping right there.
Normally, even then, there's usually some heat staining on the valve springs, and there's none of that either.
Yeah, these things look brand
fucking great.
So are we going into the lifters or no?
I think we're gonna go out to the other bank.
The other bank and see what that looks like?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna keep this off for now.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting that the springs look good,
Yeah,
man.
the valve springs look really good. That's really exciting. Because that was kind of, I know you were wondering if someone put that in there, but they put the new cam in or not. So that's always good news. Those,
Oh, the valve springs?
yeah.
Those
look really good. That's always good news.
Yeah. What wire is that for?
These are all your ignition feeds.
Okay.
Go into your ignition coil. So fun fact, each ignition coil is actually technically an ignition module. They all have modules in them. Some of them you can see, they have a little more of a clear, transparent weather seal. They actually have a circuit board in each one of them too. So they're it's not like it's just getting positive and ground. It's actually each one of these is communicating with the ECM. Now very minimally, just some voltage feedback, but they're each one of these is still, and it writes its own module. Now they're not like accessible with a scan tool, so like I can't, even with General Motors software. Yeah, I can't look into each one. There's kind of really no reason. You can tell if they're
ignition coil, right?
Yeah, you can tell if they're if an ignition coil is bad pretty easily, just through an inline spark tester. So they don't really, there's really no reason for them, you to even be able to communicate with them.
Right.
The only thing they need to talk to is the ECM, and the only thing it needs to do is talk back. It's very good that all that's coming, like your valve covers are coming off super easy.
Yeah.
You don't need valve cover gaskets. That was kind of something I was worried about, is how easy are those going to come off? Is he going to need to get any gaskets or no? Sounded a lot more like one of these over here. Huh.
Feels good.
Yeah.
So what's the correlation with the lifter in regards to the rocker arm? Like, do you think that just because the rocker arm is bad, that it'll be a bad lifter? I mean, does a rocker arm have to be bad for it to be a bad lifter? Or could it bypass?
No. Well, if ideally, under most circumstances, if a lifter goes out, then it's collapsed. So it's lots of hydraulic things. It's not a piston anymore. It's lost length and height. So the rocker arm and the rocker push rod will just flap around. And that's what I think was causing your ticking. Now what I'm going to look for is maybe a bent push rod, which can also happen in the case of bad lifters.
Okay.
So take off some of the rocker arms. Shit,
Yo, if that would have hit my car. It definitely hit my back. God damn, that shit hurt.
You good?
It did hit the car. No!
Did it hit the car?
Yeah, hit the wheel.
You good?
Let me get some light. Yo, I almost lost my goddamn back. It scratched my fucking wheel.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Look at that.
Not bad.
Not bad. Enough for me to fucking see it though.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Look at that, guys. Scratch my wheel. God damn it.
What a hoe. I'm just gonna pull this one as an example. Holy fuck. Alright, ratchet time it is. Test for bad push rods. You need this really expensive GM special tool called the floor. Or just a flat surface.
flat surface. What do you mean? Oh, to test the actual push rod.
Well, let's see if it's bent or not.
Oh, to roll it.
Yep.
You saying? Okay.
So we're gonna do these one at a time so we know which is which. And then, oh, these are aftermarket push rods too.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So this is a fucking rebuilt engine already.
They don't have, yeah, this is definitely an aftermarket push rod. Normally they have like a roller on the top.
So
like
aftermarket springs, aftermarket push rods.
Maybe not aftermarket springs, definitely new springs.
Well, yeah, you're right.
This is 110% an aftermarket push rod.
So we need some fucking cardboard, huh?
Wow.
Or something
this
clean.
Thing, yeah, I guess, but I mean, just basing it off of a reference point, it looks pretty solid to me. Basically, what you would do is you just roll a push rod on a flat surface, and if it's bent, you will be able to see it wobble.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, little buddy.
A little scratched up.
Not too bad. That's more like the surface oil on it. I'm trying to get the film off of. This is literally not scratched up too bad. Maybe a little flat spotted, which I guess could cause a tick too. This one doesn't look too bad though. Seems to fit in there flush. There's definitely a wear pattern on this top left corner though. Which has me kind of concerned. This one, it stays in there flush though, so, but I think that will be a, that might pertain to what we're looking at on a different rocker arm though. Go in and get the torque spec from that.
Is there any way that you have to align it, or you just put it in there and it'll align itself?
Kind of, but I'm not really worrying about that till I torque it. It's not really, you don't really gotta worry about it. Just make sure it's on the center of the valve and you'll be all right. This one's fine.
All right, family, so we're gonna go ahead and look at these push rods and these rocker arms and see if they're bad or not. I know you guys don't want to see each individual one being taken off, so we're gonna go ahead and stop here, and then if we find something, we'll come back to you.
All right, so we did find one that's scratched up a little bit. It's gonna be hard to see it on camera probably, but
Probably.
so what does it mean when it's scratched up?
Well, it could mean a few things. Either the fucking guy that put these in wasn't very careful.
Right, and scratched them at that time.
Yeah, but the thing is because there's kind of a pattern to these, and you get all this paper towel shit off. It's all longitudinal, right? It's all going up to down, and like you said, there's a pretty good pit there.
Yeah, like
I guess here's lateral, but I mean, your push rods, they go up and down, and they do kind of spin occasionally, like just lightly each time, and
So if it's
as
scratching
oil
there?
comes through it. But yeah, so I'm wondering if that lifter was bad and it left this loose. And this could be sliding around in there, just staying on the push rod, and it could be sliding around. It could have caught an edge and
Yeah.
worn the side of it. I'm not entirely sure how likely that would be to happen though, as it looked like it still fit in the channel pretty well. And yeah, there's still, it's got a pretty good grip on the lifter, I feel. And this guy doesn't look bent. You can still see the center marks from the
You
casting.
think those rocker arms look new too, or no?
No. In fact, they that thread sealant there tells me that they're
Original.
yeah. Especially with all the heat scoring on the edges and the inside of them. Yeah, these aren't new.
Okay.
But these surely are.
Yeah. Let's see them
Which also tells me that someone has chased this problem before. So if push rods didn't fix it and valve springs didn't fix it,
Those lifters, or something else, you think?
lifters or a cam. If it's valve train, which I'm willing to bet a lot of money, because again, the metal is You said it was magnetic, so it's not.
Very little. It wasn't like anything crazy.
Yeah, so
There
that's,
was some on there.
if it was magnetic, then it's not rod bearings. Those are aluminum.
You can turn the push rods on that side.
So here, I haven't touched any of the rocker arms on this side yet, and I can, that amount of play in the rocker arm on anything that's factory GM, that really won't be too much of a concern. And that's because the lash is proper. I can't turn a push rod with my fingers in there. On this, I can. I shouldn't be able to do that by hand. Now, by the design, the rocker arm is supposed to rotate in there when the lifter plunges and everything, and that's why they have ball caps on each end of the rocker arm. But I'm definitely not supposed to be able to turn them by hand.
Right.
Which tells me either the push rods are too short, or yeah, you might have lifters all around.
Bad lifters all around.
Yeah, but now it's just the thing is because we don't know what cam this guy put in it, we don't know how long the rocker arms are supposed to be.
Right.
So
I pretty much need to get new rocker arms and new probably push rods too. Push rods, cam, and lifters.
possibly a cam. But now another thing I'm freaked out about is I have tightened this nearly to torque spec, and I can't turn that fucker. So I'm also wondering if this guy just didn't fucking put this back together properly and all these rocker arms are a little too loose. Or if he just did the whole, 1.5 turn dilemma, and that's obviously not tight enough because of the cam he put in it. I think I'm definitely going to try consulting with a few different people. If we knew what cam he used, this would be really easy to figure out. Of course, fucking everyone and their brother on the internet, Motor Trend and Summit Racing and everybody else has like an adjustable push rod measuring tool. You can actually like put one in there and turn it and figure out how long it is and figure out how long a push rod you need. Yeah. Yeah, these valve springs and everything are definitely new. These are double coil springs too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, come look over here. I don't know if you'll catch the light. Yeah, you can see the second coil of the valve spring over here. So that's all good. I mean, you obviously have good valve springs and everything in here. Now, just the question is,
Push rod cam.
yeah, did they do the push rods right, and did they do lifters in it? Because if they have short lifters in here too, a short plunge lifters, then these would definitely be the wrong size push rods. These are definitely way too short.
All right.
Then it's just another unknown.
So you think I should take it to a shop? Or just wait to see what you find out? So I called a shop up in Chicago and they said it'd be $150 or $1,500 if it's just the lifters, $2,500 if I got to put a cam in it.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to drop the engine and put a cam in because the cam's in the block.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly, it very well could end up needing to go to the shop, so it's not really a bad alternative because obviously dropping an engine's not something I can really do on my own,
right?
Especially not without a 4-point. One way or another, kind of depending on what I figure out here. If I can't figure anything out about push rod length, then yeah, I'd definitely take it to the shop because then the next step would be inspecting the lifters, and we're gonna have to take the head off for that, which I can probably do on my own, especially with these headers being the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
We probably we won't take them all out. We'll just take the headers off and try to move them out of the way, and we can lift the head out. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have to do all that much work to it anyways, then yeah, I would say probably take it to someone who
Take it to the shop.
Someone who has all the tooling and shit to figure out exactly what they're working with, or someone who knows a lot more than me about building engines and probably would see this and go, I know exactly what this fucking dumbass did who built this thing. But
I'm glad to see it's 243 heads though, because I wasn't so sure that this car had the original engine.
Because I bought belts for it earlier this year, and the belts were not correct according to like what was in AutoZone shit. Yeah. So I was like, something else is, you know what I'm saying?
Aftermarket. If I've run into fucking aftermarket belts being a pain in the ass, no matter if it's AutoZone, O'Reilly's, or fucking Napa.
Really?
If we order belts at the dealership from anybody aftermarket because we don't have them, they're always the fucking wrong size. So I think that's just something going around. But yeah, no, the as far as everything that actually is going onto the head of the engine, it all looks really, really good. Again, you have the double valve springs, and they look great. And at least he put aftermarket push rods in it when he put the cam in it. Now the thing is, we just don't know what's going on in the core of the engine, so we don't know if he's got, you know, aftermarket lifters in it, or even the right length push rods. And then if he did put aftermarket plunge lifters in it, then it probably definitely does have the wrong length push rods. So there's just some unknowns here that make this hard to figure out. Based on everything else they've replaced here, though, and the fact that I can turn that push rod with the rocker arm down and everything, I'm thinking that this guy might have put either short plunge lifters in it and has the wrong push rod length. I'm thinking they're probably too short.
I mean, it almost seems to be like solid work, though. I mean, with the springs and
I just think he maybe combined kits and something got mixed up in between. Is kind of what I'm thinking. Or, you know, he just threw a cam kit in it and then he put valve springs in it or valve lifters in it, or, you know, got something else with it that something isn't entirely adding up here. But I'm not entirely sure what it is without knowing what the guy put in it, but there's no way you should be able to turn the push rod with the rocker arm all the way down.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it's this to exchange out valve springs, you need like a whole special. You need like a fucking deck tool. It's like this whole own bench, and has a hydraulic arm that you put over the valves and or the valve springs, and it pushes them down so you can pull out. Off. Yeah, so you can pull out the valve spring retainers, and you can pull out the valve springs and the valves. So obviously, either the guy that did this has some ridiculous tooling, or he took it somewhere that's good, which makes me doubt that someone torqued the rocker arms wrong on the other side.
Right. Yeah, I kind of doubt it too.
So I'm thinking, that the push rods are too short, which again very well could cause a tick. I wouldn't think it would be that loud though. It could also kill a lifter. Okay. Basically, this course of action we're going to take here is we're going to put it all back together, and I'm going to torque it so we know that all this will be assembled properly, considering that some of them seem to have been at least a little bit loose, because when I tighten these down to torque, the push rod's not moving, yet they are over there.
And it's not supposed to move. It's not supposed to spin.
The push rod's not supposed to spin, no. So, and then again, I don't know, that could also still be because of a collapsed lifter. But we're just going to tighten make sure these are all the spec, run the engine and see if it's still there, and then it could either be wrong length push rods, collapsed lifters, or a cam that's been eaten by a collapsed lifter. So
okay,
we'll go ahead and clean all this up so your valve cover gaskets seal all right.
All right, family. So we got the car all back together now. He said that there are what, 3 out of 6? I mean, 3 out of 16.
3 out of 8 push rods on each side. 2 exhaust and 1 intake on this side. I didn't really see on that side. Will move after they're all torqued. So that whole side was torqued properly. Basically, it was a total of 6 out of 16 push rods that will move when they're torqued properly and the rocker arms are on. So you have 10 out of 16 push rods that, when they're seated and installed properly, are not turning as they should be. So that's an overwhelming majority, not an overwhelming majority, but a majority push rods that are obviously right and they're not moving. So yeah, if they were short, they would all be like that. So I'm willing to bet a lot of money that it's going to be lifters. Yeah. And then the question is, did the lifters eat the cam? Right, which they
probably did. So we went ahead and tightened everything down to the specs that they're supposed to be at, hoping that just something was loose. But we know that more than likely that's not the case. But we're going to go ahead and start it up and see if that was the issue.
So I guess it kind of depends on what metals that camshaft is made out of, being aftermarket. Because I know GM, the big problem with GM is that their stock cams are made of a softer metal than the actual roller and the lifter was. Yeah. And that's why the lifter would use the cam instead of vice versa.
I thought about that. I was like, this hood has been up all fucking day. We're starting the car apart too. Wow. That shit was loud as fuck. Did you have your foot on the gas?
No. I said it was going to be. It's a start.
I know, but it ain't never been that loud. All right, family. So Unfortunately, we weren't able to fix the issue. We, took off the valve cover, looked at the top of the engine to see if there was anything that we could identify, and there was nothing there. But I'm happy that we got that far. I didn't feel confident in myself even to do that little bit. And after watching him do it, I was like, oh, that's not bad at all. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad we took everything apart. I know now that I have new valve springs. I know that the push rods are aftermarket. The rocker arms were the same. But now when people talk about these things, I can identify it. And, I've heard these terms before, but I've never seen it. Now that I've seen it, I can identify and understand a little bit more. So definitely worth the time of, popping off that valve cover. And he said the valve cover gasket was good. Those are things that definitely make it worth my time. So next, we're probably just going to take the car to the shop and go ahead and pay the money that they're asking for it. So it'll be between $1,500 and $2,500. Okay. If somebody wants to buy the car for $15,000 before I take it to the shop, let me know. All right. You get it for $15,000. You put $2,000 to it at $17,000. That's still a cheap C506. I'm just saying, right? At dealers, they're selling for $20,000, $24,000, $25,000. So if it's a healthy running car, you got something there. All right. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment below. What you guys think about the top of the engine? Does it look clean? And do you agree with my decision to take it to the shop? All right. Catch you guys next time.